Yeah, g'day guys, Graham here. Just wanted to do a video on the result and outcome of the Warnbro property, which I went under offer over the weekend. The Warnbro one, which I previously just showed a video of last week. Yeah, happy to announce obviously it went under offer and well and truly went over and above my expectations. The sales price, I was sort of thinking it was going to be in the sort of the 480 to 500 sale price, and the buyer paid 550. So it went, yeah, at least 50 grand more higher than what I was sort of anticipating. So it actually gave me $150,000 profit, which is extraordinary to think when I only settled on it 4 weeks ago in March. So very, very good outcome for a flip. They're definitely not all that good, I can assure you. I typically aim to make no less than 50, which is pretty much normally the absolute minimum that I'll do is to make a 50k profit. Most of them over, sort of in between 50 and 100 is what I normally make on a flip. So 150 as well and truly, especially, being such a small flip, it was only a small cosmetic. What made that price go over and above? I think the buyer was, probably bought with emotion. It was an owner-occupier, it wasn't an investment. So rather than doing it based on the numbers like most of the sales in that area, when the investors are just looking at return on investment, rental yield, etc., this one was an owner-occupier, which I did predict because of the pool and because of the shed and so on. Obviously had a nice garden, corner block, so buyer kept missing out, and they have paid a price to secure the property. So it was a really good win for myself. Something I just wanted to address as well is I get a lot of people asking me, why do you sell the properties? Why do you flip them? Why don't you just hold on to them? So my core business at the moment is flipping property. So if I wasn't flipping property, I wouldn't have any income coming in. I do have a different strategy where I'm accumulating property as well. So that's more the development side. So like I do, as I've mentioned in a previous video, I've got a triplex at the moment, which I'll be accumulating and holding all three of those properties. But yeah, as far as my core business at the moment, and income, it's from flipping houses. So that's why I've been doing it this way. I'm only 18 months in, so my plan is to definitely start accumulating more property as time goes by. But yeah, my initial strategy coming into flipping was building cash flow essentially, and that'll obviously now enable me to do bigger deals as I go further along. So I just wanted to also sort of just discuss the actual deal itself and what other what costs are involved in actually a deal like that. So obviously it looks good in making 150,000. So, but if you look at the actual purchase price of the property, I paid 330,000 for that property, and I sold the property for 550. So there was a $220,000 difference there. The renovation only cost me, I think it was 20. I think I said 25. I just looked at it again. It was like 27,000 or something like that. So, so realistically, a lot of people think, oh, well, you've made 200,000, but that's actually not the case, because you've got to take into consideration the other $50,000 worth of other $50,000 worth of costs, which are going out of the door. So to give an example, when you're doing your numbers, obviously feasibility is critical, but you've got to take into consideration stamp duty. So the stamp duty on that property on 330,000 was just under $11,000. I use money partners to fund my deals rather than going to the bank and getting regular finance. It's easier to use money partners because they're only small deals, and because I don't have 2 years worth of financials at the moment, it's easier for me to use money partners, so private lenders. So mum, dad investors who are happy to sort of, provide me money to do my deals, and they get a return. So other costs, legal. So in order to engage with those sort of lenders, normally there's $2,000 or $3,000 worth of legal costs that I have to pay for as the borrower, to have a loan agreement drawn up, that sort of thing. There's obviously the settlement costs. So when you buy a property, you pay your settlement agent, and then there's your so there's normally a couple of grand worth of settlement costs that you've got to take into consideration. When you buy the property, obviously you're going to get a building and pest inspection, make sure it's structurally sound. There's $500. Renovation costs, like I said, so this one was like 27,000. Any holding costs, so I typically hold a property for, one of these flips for about 4 months. So if I've got, let's say the reno takes 4 weeks, then it takes another 4 weeks to the buyer buys, another 4 weeks for them to get finance, and another 4 weeks to get settlement. Well, that's 3 months of holding costs. So 3 months of land rates, 3 months of water rates, 3 months of water bill. Yeah, those just general holding costs. Then at the other end, if I'm using an agent, which I have been of late, the last 3 or 4 has been using the same agent. You've got, she looks after me with a good rate, but typically speaking, most people are paying sort of, 2 to 3% for a real estate agent, and then they're also paying their marketing fee as well. And the marketing fee, once again, could be, anywhere between $1,300, $2,000, depending on, what marketing you're paying for. Staging the property, I always stage the property. Some people think in a hot market you don't need to, but I feel by spending sort of $3,500 on having the house fully staged, the house presents so much better, and I think that you absolutely get that money back and more by doing the staging. So the photos look good, so it just sells the house. And then obviously again, your settlement at the other end you've got to pay for, so that's another cost. Once again, it's the same as what you're paying when you purchase it. So you've got 2 settlements in and out, and then there's obviously the money partner return. So if I typically pay money partners say 15% return on their investment per annum. So in this case, if I borrowed the purchase price of say $330, and I'm borrowing the full amount and I'm giving them a 15% return over 3 or 4 months, that's $13,000 to $17,000 return that they're getting. So all up, I think I've worked out that, not including the renovation, it was almost $70,000 or something like that, which is money that's just gone. So actually, it might have been more like 50. Sorry. Don't quote me on that. I need to have another look. But essentially, if you take into consideration all those costs, so that's why when you do your feasibility up front, you have that all laid out in your spreadsheet. So okay, I buy the property at this price, stamp duty is going to cost me this much, termite and building is, put that price in, that number in, you put everything, holding cost in, the amount that your reno is going to cost you, you plug everything in, and then okay, well, based on, and then at the end, what am I going to sell it for once it's renovated? Okay, and then you can look at it and go, okay, this is going to give me a return of $60,000. If you're not getting the return price that you want, then you go, okay, well, my buy price is too much, so I've got to reduce that. So, and that's how you work out what you need to sell your, that's how you work out what you need to buy the property for. So, obviously, it's important to be doing this in a market where it's not going to go backwards in price as well. So obviously, if the market's rising like it has been here in Perth in certain areas and the area that I've been in, obviously I'm getting a bit of market growth as well. So I'm doing my feasibility by being conservative, but because the market's been rising, I'm probably getting an extra 10 or 20 grand profit on top because of the market's been rising on top of what I've sort of allowed for. So that's why a lot of the time I've been allowing sort of, aiming for at least 60, and then a lot of the time that's been coming in 80 or 90 profit, because I'm riding that growth over that 3 or 4 months, because the area I've been working in has had considerable growth over the last sort of 18 months. Anyway, so that's basically how I buy the property and how I do my numbers and so on. So obviously, a lot of people, going back to what I said earlier, a lot of people say, well, why don't you just hold on to the properties long term? Well, to be honest, there's some areas where I want to accumulate properties as well, and there's some that's not. That particular area, it's not really an area I'm wanting to accumulate property, but I see it as a good income stream for cash flow for me to flip property. So, so that's essentially why I'm not accumulating those properties. If I had a day job where I was, making 150, 200K a year, and I had really good borrowing capacity from the bank and that sort of stuff, then yeah, absolutely, I probably could hold all those properties. But for me at the moment, it's actually my job, it's actually my income stream. So it obviously has to pay for myself, my family to be able to live, but also I'm using that money then to put into like my development deal and stuff like that, to be able to go on and then obviously accumulate other property as well. So anyway, that's just a little bit about my strategy where I'm at. I do plan to accumulate more property, and do bigger deals and stuff like that, in bigger developments and stuff like that. So this for me, yeah, this is essentially the starting place for me. Like I said, I've now completed 12 renovations. Or the one I'm actually finishing on the weekend. It's actually got finished today. It's actually being cleaned tomorrow and Tuesday. That's my 12th reno complete in 18 months of doing this. And then I've also got a development on the go, which is another renovation, which I'm halfway through as well. So 13 deals in 18 months. My goal is to try and secure at least another development site this year. Whether or not I started or optioned something, but yeah, my plan is definitely to secure another triplex site, because that's going to be the strategy I'm sort of working in or aiming for, where I can actually retain one house and build 2 additional dwellings. So that's obviously what I'm doing at Kubelup. So that's the strategy for me to hold and accumulate property, and then the flipping that I'm doing is my cash flow and enabling me to, that's my income stream. So anyway, thank you and hope you liked it.